Hello friends, welcome to the helicopter crash course with the Pilot. As you see at the background, this is the first helicopter mod for Microsoft Flight Simulator, which has been around for a while. I was always planning to give it a try, but I never flew helicopters in a simulator. I don't have the knowledge, I don't know how they are controlled, and they are hard to control. But this time, I slapped the fear in the face and decided to give it a try and wanted to share that experience with you guys. This is an Airbus H135 helicopter. The mod can be found in flightsim.to. I'll post a link to the description field of the video for those of you who are interested in downloading. Currently it's at version 0.8.3. It is pretty good. They are still developing it and they have added a lot of functionality as far as the videos I watched goes. That's what I can tell about this aircraft. What I will do is I will share how to power her on, how to start the engines, what flight modes it has. It has 3 different modes for different levels of helicopter pilots. Basic, advanced, and there is an Xbox mod where you can use an Xbox controller to control the helicopter. As I said, we will power on, we'll take a look at what modes it has, like Autopilot and such, and then we will take off, do a small tour of London, and hopefully we will come back and be able to land. I'm using a broken clouds or scattered clouds weather preset with no wind, because wind has a bad effect on helicopters, makes it really impossible to control, and I'm just brand new, so I didn't want to deal with that right off the bat. Without further ado, let's jump into the cockpit and take a look at how to start her up. As you see, this is the cockpit. The model is quite nice. Not all the buttons are working, but it is looking good. You can open the doors. There are click spots right here that you can click and open the doors on either side. And you can open the cargo doors through a button at the top, which I believe is this guy. And if I go outside, as you see, the cargo doors are also open now, and the back door for the passengers. Let's close them back, and let's close the pilot door. To start her up, there is the battery master switch over here. I'm not sure why it says heading 2, but this is the battery master switch. That's maybe the livery I'm using, I'm not sure. And that powers on the avionics and the screens. This is your throttle, which is called collective in a helicopter. This is the, what was it called for an helicopter? This is the stick. It has a different name. I cannot remember not right now. And then rudder pedals, as you see. The chimes you are hearing is the startup test. And over here you have the external power unit. Pressing this button will turn it on so that you don't drain the batteries. Power up test is in progress. The external power is connected, and we can turn the pitot heat on and the fuel pumps. We can also turn on some lights because we are going to start the engines. Nav light, cabin light, and that's the night lighting, which we can also turn on or off. Beacon and strobe. This is the beacon. That's the cabin light. Oh, that's the strobe, not the beacon, sorry. Let's take a look closer to the overhead. So this is the beacon, each was on. Strobe, we will turn it off. Taxi and landing light, cabin lights are off. Nav lights, we turn them on. And that's the beacon. These are the nav lights on both sides. So, let's move back. Power up self-test is still in progress. I don't know how long it takes. Okay, it takes quite some time, but it's okay now. We turn the fuel pumps on. This is the starter switch. This aircraft has two turbines, two engines. So we'll start the left one first. You need to use your scroll wheel of your mouse. Clicking this switch doesn't do anything, so keep that in mind when starting her up. And if we take a look, the propeller animation will be seen when as the propeller, or yeah, the propeller or the rotor for the helicopters is called the rotor. It starts to spin, and we can take a look from outside too. Nicely done. She is starting up. You'll see the heat blur like in the jet aircraft. So a lot of things are nicely done for this thing, and it's completely free to download and use. And the first helicopter, I thought this might be a good way of sightseeing and enjoying the scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that's the reason I decided to start learning it and wanted to share that experience with you guys as I go through, because you will be guinea pigs along with me, because I have no idea how a helicopter is flown in a simulator, and I have never interested so far, but the scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator make my interest raise, or made me interested in trying this out. Okay, the left engine is now started. We'll do the same with the right one. It will engage the starter and then the M1 to start rising and to start rising, and then it will come to idle when it stabilizes around 54.8% M1. We'll wait for that to start, and when we get up in the air, I have a surprise that you guys might like, which makes helicopter flying a little bit more interesting. Alright, she is starting up. Let's take a look outside one more time. She's quite loud though, I can give her that. But the 3D model, all the sounds and whatnot, they are, I think, nicely done, if you ask me. That's my personal opinion. There is also a sound mod for this aircraft in FlightSim.to. I haven't tested that out. I will eventually in the future. Just trying to learn. Anyway, so the engines are good. Before we can get our flight ready, I want to talk about the mods. As you see, the flight mode is basic mode right now. This helps you to control better, because it is going to remove the torque effect, which means when the rotor is spinning, the body of the aircraft or the fuselage tends to rotate to the opposite direction, which you have to counter with rudder pedals, applying opposite rudder pedal to keep the nose straight. Basic mode removes that necessity and helps you take off and land a little bit easier, which we will take a look in a second. Advanced mode is, as the name suggests, adds that torque effect, so you have to play with the rudders along with the stick to control the helicopter. And then there's an Xbox mode for those of you who has an Xbox controller. This is for that. I haven't did a lot of investigation on this because I don't use an Xbox controller. We'll keep it at the basic mode. And the control binds that you need to make in your controller setting is make sure you make a separate profile for the helicopter, like so. And for throttle, only thing you need to do is, I have two axes. I just assigned one of them to the throttle 1. I'm not sure if I had to assign a throttle 2. We can also try that as well. Throttle 2 axis, let's just try to assign this as well. That is going to be joystick right axis X, I believe. No, not that one. Oh, joystick right axis Y, I think this. Right axis Y, right left axis Y. That's what I was looking for. Do we have a left axis Y? We do. Let's see what happens when we validate. Yep, that's that. And it says it was also used somewhere else. Let's see where. Okay, that was, I guess, wrong. So that's what you need to set up. Sorry for the distraction. Power management, throttle one axis. This worked fine. I'm just adding this as a second axis, just in case. I'm not sure. This wasn't assigned and it was working, so just try it for yourself. And for the joystick, what you need to do is no different than an aircraft. Primary flight control surfaces. You have to assign your ailerons, which is the bank, left and right bank, and then the elevator, which is pitch up and pitch down. And that's it for the controls. There are some that you can play with that gives you some views or such, but to fly her, this is what you need. Oh, the other thing is the rudder. I forgot to say that one. If you have rudder pedals, that you need to go to flight control surfaces and assign the rudder axis. And that's it for the controls. Okay, she is ready to take off. What we need to do is we need to engage the FADEC, full authority digital engine control, by moving this switch one more position up. This is a 2-position or 3-position switch rather. And then now she is ready to take off. What is left for us is increase the throttle. We will increase the throttle and she will lift off the ground nice and easy, as you see. And there is no torque effect. I'm not applying any rudder pedals or anything like that. She is just hovering above the ground like so. And the drifting is caused by the 2-knot wind coming from the left, which is drifting us to the right. So let's land and take a look at the advanced mode. Okay, we landed. It was a little bit hard, but let's switch to advanced mode. And as I add throttle, look what's going to happen. Hold on, why the other engine's throttle is not increasing? That is interesting. Is that the controller that I just assigned causing that problem? Let's disable this. Clear, validate, apply, and then see what happens. Okay, this is better. As you see, the nose tends to go to the right as I add the throttle. Look at the nose now. Because of that torque effect, it is going to move to the left, right, and I have to apply some left rudder to counter, and then we should be able to take off. And as you increase the throttle, that effect also increases, and as you see, taking off in the advanced mode is not as smooth as taking off in the other basic mode, or yeah, basic flight mode. So we'll turn around like so. That was a terrible takeoff, if you ask me. And we will follow this flight director thingy. And as you see, as I leave the rudder, she starts turning. So let me switch back to basic mode. And then we will let go of the rudders and try to control and try to power just a little bit. We are drifting to the right, and you have to make very small movements when you are applying control. And she is now a little bit more stable, and that green dot here is telling you where she is moving towards. So now we are moving to the left and front. If I pitch back, that should start coming back, and I have to bank right to get that green dot back to the center to enter a hover mode. but it is not as easy as you think. As you see, we are now drifting to the right, and now we are moving forward. So it's a lot of practice that you need to do to be able to control and get her stabilized. Okay, that's better. That is, yeah, so we are almost there. Almost there. Not quite, but almost. So very small movements, and then she should be able to hover nicely, like so. Okay, so that's the control logic of an helicopter. So let's turn around towards London City. And the surprise I had for you guys is this, but for that, let me go here and show you the autopilot mods. So attitude hold is going to hold the current flight attitude, whatever you are seeing with this green dot, it will hold that, I believe. Heading hold, as the name suggests, it is going to hold the heading. Nav hold is going to hold the nav source and travel towards that nav source, whatever that might be. You can tune a nav radio or you can use GPS. It has a small EFB here that displays the same information that is also in this screen. And why are we turning like crazy? Is that the wind? It's probably the wind. What else I was saying? And when you turn the autopilot master, altitude hold, will hold the altitude. I didn't set anything, so we can set the altitude from here, and maybe let's set ourselves for 1,000 feet. It will climb to 1,000 feet and stay there. Heading hold, as you see, you can change the heading or synchronize by pressing here. So now she's hovering and holding the current flight attitude, heading towards that way, towards front, and speeding up. So I want to switch to the heading hold mode. First synchronize the heading, switch to heading hold, and then I want to make a left turn to go towards London. Go towards a little bit southwest, I believe, towards London, like so. And then this is what I was talking about, Bush Talk Radio. This is a free Microsoft Flight Simulator add-on that makes it an audio tour, sort of. When you pass across a point of interest, this will start talking about that point of interest, which you will hear in a second when we pass through some. This is the surprise I wanted to share with you. With the helicopter slowly flying and the Bush Talk Radio, this makes the simulator a virtual tour of the city, where you listen through the Bush Talk Radio about the point of interest and their history or what they are, while cruising in a helicopter, which makes it great. So we will slow down a little bit. The speed, I want to keep it around 50 to 70, somewhere there. And we are drifting a little bit. That's because of the wind. It should be... why am I not seeing the wind information here? Don't we have wind? Oh, it's right there. It's a headwind right now, so no problems. We should be good. So we are heading towards London City. But let's turn a little bit more to the left and follow the River Thames. I want to start hearing Bush Talk Radio speaking about the point of interests around here. Hopefully we will hear it together. And then we will head back to London City Airport and see if we can land this helicopter for the first time properly after a flight, because I haven't done this. So we will try this together, experience it together, but as far as my experience goes, it is not that easy. Okay, hopefully shortly we should be passing through. What happened? Oh, okay. I touched the button accidentally on my joystick, which turned the fade off for the right engine. But now we are good. Okay, let's get back to the autopilot. Let's start turning towards right to the tower bridge, and hopefully the bush talk radio will start talking about the tower bridge when we get closer. Okay. Do I need to log out and log back in? I'm not sure. Let's try that one. Because we are right above the tower bridge.
Tower Bridge is
there
a
you
combined
go.
bascule and suspension bridge in London, built between 1886 and 1894. The bridge
As you see
crosses
now,
the
you
River
are
Thames
hearing
close to
the
Tower
virtual
of London
audio
and has
tour
become a world-famous symbol of London.
from
As a
Bush Talk
result,
Radio,
it
which is
sometimes
great. I think
confused
this
with
makes
London
the
Bridge,
scenery of
about
the
half a
sim
mile upstream.
and
Tower
carries
Bridge is one of
Microsoft
5
Flight
London
Simulator
bridges
to
owned and
a
maintained
different
by the
level in my
Bridge House
opinion.
Estates, a charitable trust overseen by the City of London Corporation.
I will let you listen to
It is the only one of the Trust's bridges not to connect the City of London directly
Bush
to the
Talk
Southwark
Radio a little
Bank,
bit
as its northern
and silence
landfall is in
myself.
Tower Hamlets. The bridge consists of 2 bridge towers tied together at the upper level by 2 horizontal walkways, designed to withstand the horizontal tension forces imposed by the suspended sections of the bridge on the landward sides of the towers. The vertical components of the forces in the suspended sections and the vertical reactions of the 2 walkways are carried by the 2 robust towers. The bascule pivots and operating machinery are housed in the base of each tower. The bridge deck is freely accessible to both vehicles and pedestrians, whereas the bridge's twin towers, high-level walkways and Victorian engine rooms form part of the Tower Bridge exhibition, for which an admission charge is made. The nearest London Underground tube stations are Tower Hill on the Circle and District lines, London Bridge on the Jubilee and Northern lines and Bermondsey on the Jubilee line, and the nearest Docklands Light Railway station.
Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about Bush Talk Radio, because I think this is a fantastic add-on to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Makes it something much more interesting with a helicopter for sightseeing. Look at that. Let's turn towards the London Eye and see if she will start talking about London Eye. And if you log into, I think she's gonna start talking about the Waterloo Bridge. Yeah, Waterloo Bridge.
Traffic bridge crossing the River Thames in London, between Blackfriars Bridge and Hungerford Bridge. Its name commemorates the
Isn't this
victory of the
fantastic,
British,
guys?
Dutch and Prussians at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Thanks to its location at a strategic
This is a
bend in the
great
river, the views
find,
from the bridge
if you
are
ask
widely
me.
held to be the finest from any spot in London at ground level. The first bridge on the site was designed in 1807-10 by John Rennie for the Strand
I
Bridge
was
of
cruising
London,
a little bit
opened
slower.
in 1817 as a toll bridge. The granite bridge had 9 arches, each of 120 feet span.
There is no aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator where you can cruise at 38 knots and take a look at the scenery. So let's turn around to the London Eye and let's see if she will start talking about that too.
Westminster Bridge is a road and foot traffic bridge over the River Thames in London, linking Westminster on the west side and Lambeth on the east side. The bridge is painted predominantly green, the same colour as the leather seats in the House of Commons.
Look at that.
On the side of the palace of Westminster
It's
nearest
loud
to
from
the
outside,
bridge, but a natural
but
shade
seeing
similar to
London like
vertical.
this,
This is in contrast
it
to
is
Lambeth Bridge,
incredible,
which is
guys.
red, the
I'm
same
telling
colour
you,
as the
I am
seats in the
enjoying
House
this
of
Bush
Lords
Talk
and is on
Radio
the
and the
opposite side of the
helicopter,
Houses of
just for the
Parliament.
sightseeing
In
purpose of it.
2005 to 2007, it
Okay,
underwent
this
a
is what I
complete
wanted to share. No need to make the
including
video
replacing the
longer.
iron fascias
Let me
and
know in the
repainting
comments
whole
if you
bridge.
have any
It links the
interesting
palace of
places that you
Westminster on the
found
west side of the
that
river with County Hall and
might
the
be
London
worth
Eye on the
visiting
east,
with a
and was the
helicopter
finishing point during
and
the early days
sightseeing
of
a
the
little
London
bit.
Marathon.
I would love to hear that from you guys. But let's turn around, or let's start turning around towards London City Airport again.
Listed structure in 1981.
And I'm trying to turn around, and the autopilot response to heading bug is a little bit harsh, as you see. But I think that will be fixed, and they will also smooth this out in the future revisions, I hope. Okay, now we are getting back to London City Airport, which is back there, and we will try to land, hopefully, without any problems. We have to increase the throttle just a little bit. We dropped the speed to 0. So we will do that, and then she should start moving forward now. And I think this is what we need to do when we get there, to start hovering above the airport to start descending. So which might be a way to do it until you get used to the helicopter. There is a spotlight that you can move to take a look around. If we go outside, I think we should be able to see it. Not sure which one, but we need to change the weather to night, I believe. Okay, so let's move forward. Helicopter, please. You are drifting back. We don't want you to go back, we want you to go forward. There you go. Okay, I think this will do. We should start picking up speed, and the autopilot should maintain the heading. Alright, we started to pick up the speed, heading towards the airport. And we will hear more point of interest information.
Strata SE1, nicknamed Razor or Electric Razor, is a 148-meter, 43-story building at Elephant
I
and
think that's
Castle
that
in
one.
the London Borough of
I should have turned the poise.
Designed by BFLS, it is
because
one
I'm
of the
not sure
tallest residential buildings in London and more than 1,000
which one is Razor.
408 flats. Strata SE1 is located on the site of Castle House, an early 1960s six-story office building, which was the first commercial premises at the newly rebuilt Elephant and Castle.
This is
When
really
completed, Castle
exciting.
House was warmly received. The architect's
You're taking a
journal in
virtual
August
tour of London
1962
in a
found
helicopter
little to
in
criticise
Microsoft
and much
Flight
to
Simulator.
praise,
How
and
good is
until
that?
New Zealand House is completed,
That is the
it
airport right
possibly
there.
one of the best examples for anyone wanting to look at a good office block in London.
So we picked up enough speed. We can cut the throttle back to slow a little bit, and then we will keep turning towards the airport. There we go. Perfect. She flies nicely, jumps around with the wind a little bit, but I think those issues will be fixed over time, and this will be the first free helicopter in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I want to thank to the developers from here for putting such work into this amazing mod, because importing the 3D model and making it work in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'm assuming is not easy, but they managed to make it work and offering this for free. So a big thanks to the developers of this aircraft.
Pinnacle is a 239-meter skyscraper under construction by developer Challergrove Properties in Marsh Wall on the Isle of Dogs, London, United Kingdom. It is set to be the tallest residential building in Europe and will have more habitable floors than any other building in Europe. The development was formerly known as City Pride, the same name as the public house it replaces, before a name change in 2016. Challergrove Properties registered a planning application with Tower Hamlets in December 2012 for the erection of a residential-led mixed-use tower of 75 floors, comprising 822 residential units and 162 serviced apartments and associated amenities. The application was permitted,
okay, we headed towards the airport.
On the 9th of October
Let's
2013.
make
The
a full
application is
left
subject to
turn
a
and then
Section
try to
106 agreement with a total amount payable to Tower
align with the
Hamlets of
runway. And we can also drop the
£5,182,279.
altitude a little bit while we are getting there, maybe just to 500 feet, and cut the throttle so that we don't speed up too much. And let's keep turning. I don't want to hit this building. And yeah guys, this is the Airbus H135 helicopter with push talk radio, London sightseeing for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. I think this is a great way to use Microsoft Flight Simulator when you are bored from flying other aircraft. Okay, this looks good. We will slow down and try to enter to a hover mode to get her down onto the ground. Maybe somewhere there. I'm trying to see where. Okay, she's slowing down. And she's also losing altitude too. Maybe we can take over at this point and try to get her to hover and start landing. I will use my rudder pedals to turn us around, and I'm aiming for that side of the apron. Okay, there is the status indicator. We are still moving forward, which we don't want, and we are turning slowly. So, but we are getting close to the ground, so that is a good sign. We don't want to move back. Oops, oops, oops. Okay, that wasn't what I wanted, but we landed safely. There you go guys. Give it a try, let me know what you think. It requires some work to get used to, but I think this is a great addition to Microsoft Flight Simulator and learning how to fly a helicopter. I'll try to take off in the advanced mode just to show you guys the difference, and then we will end the video when we are hovering up in the air. We'll turn off the autopilot and then increase the throttle and use some rudder to compensate for the rotation, and see if we can get her up in the air without, well, not what I wanted, to be honest with you. I'm trying to now, okay, well, we are trying to enter to a hovering mode and trying to get her slowly maintain that position while I'm trying to move. And if you make bigger movements on the stick, as you see, she goes crazy, and I'm not very good at this advanced mode, if I have to be honest, because applying rudder and keeping the nose straight, also maintaining your attitude, is quite hard. See, we are drifting backwards and it is hard to get her back to where I want her to be. And you have to make very small movements, otherwise you will lose control and drift around like crazy. Okay, like so maybe, but you have to take off and practice this a little bit and try to stabilize her. I'm trying to make smaller movements and keep the green dot where it is sitting at right now, but in the advanced mode it is not that easy. And that pink arrow floating around is the direction of travel, and when that green dot disappears, that's what you total tells you your direction of travel. But I'm going to increase the throttle and get up in the air before we hit somewhere, and then try to maintain that center and apply the rudder so that we don't turn, so I forget about that all the time. But as you pick up altitude, it becomes easier because that ground effect doesn't affect the airframe anymore. So you will be able to get back to the position you want a little bit easier, I guess, when you do that. It is still not that easy, but easier than being closer to the ground. So I will increase the throttle, and as you increase, you need to apply more rudder force to keep her where she is at. But we will switch to attitude hold, and we will engage the autopilot to see if it will help us maintain a good level. And there you go, guys. Airbus H135 helicopter. Links will be in the description field of the video. Thanks for being with me and taking a tour of London, a small tour of London today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing that and turning on the notifications to get notified for the future videos. And give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I will see you in the next video.